Trump disappeared a Maryland father to El Salvador's so-called torture prison, with the administration conceding in court that they mistakenly deported him due to an administrative error, but now they're refusing to bring him home and they're claiming that the courts can't make them. So Kilmar Abrego Garcia was granted protected status by a judge in 2019, and despite knowing this, ICE still sent him to El Salvador's prison. And this is back in Maryland. Garcia has a wife who is a US citizen and a disabled son. He was working a full-time job as a sheet metal apprentice when he was wrongly deported, and he doesn't have a criminal record. But you have the White House saying that since he's not in US custody anymore, the court can't order them to bring him back. And so you have Garcia's lawyers saying to The Atlantic, if that's true, the immigration laws are meaningless, all of them, because the government can deport whoever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want, and no court can do anything about it once it's done. You then also had JD Vance claiming today that Garcia was a convicted member of the MS-13 gang, but the court records appear to say exactly the opposite. There was a time where a confidential informant said that he was a member of the gang in a state that he's never lived in, but ICE said they have no evidence to corroborate that claim. And so in 2019, the courts granted him protected status that made it so the US couldn't deport him back to El Salvador. With a notably on this, Leavitt at a White House press briefing saying,
first of all, the error that you are referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang.
Right, and so there you have people saying that's doublespeak, right? Asking, how can it be true that Garcia was mistakenly deported due to his protected status, but also that he was a gang member who should have been deported? Right, saying that these are contradictory statements. Either it's a mistake or it isn't. And this is both the DOJ and ICE admit that he was deported unlawfully by mistake and that he was protected from deportation, but the White House, to some, seem to be arguing, yeah, we broke the law, what are you going to do about it? With this even seeing one conservative analyst saying they're now just openly saying that they can break the law based on their assertions. But then also a legal expert saying the trick they are trying to pull is if we dump someone quickly abroad quickly enough, we can get around due process. But for now, follow to stay in the loop.